If you're broke, you don't need a car note. You need a bus pass. I'm sorry. We need to normalize living below our means, being frugal. Some people don't want this advice, but maybe some of you will actually take it. A few years ago, I got my car, a 2018 Toyota Corolla. It's all black, has a little touchscreen radio. I loved it, but I had to take out a loan for it. I have about $7,000 left on my car loan, and my car payments are always on time. But I wish I took my dad's advice when I was car shopping. He literally said, Rachel, go on Facebook Marketplace, get like $1,000, $2,000 car. He told me to get a little hoopty. And I literally didn't even want to hear him. I was like, nope, no way. I want like at least a car with like a touchscreen radio. But man, at that time where my dad gave me that solid advice, I wish that I was truly listening. I was so worried about like the bells and whistles on this 2018 car that I am now in debt because of it. Now, don't get me wrong, not all debt is bad debt, but I could easily not have a car note right now if I just listened to my dad. In that moment, I was afraid to live below my means. Now I'm paying $250 a month for a car. So don't be like me and take the bus. Mind you, I did not say Uber or Lyft. I said take the bus, get a bus pass, or walk. Carpool if you live in one of those places where a supermarket is like 20 miles from you.
I'm gonna hold your hand so tight when I say this. You do not have an income problem, you have a spending problem. You can make all the money in the world. Matter of fact, when I was making the most money I ever made in my life, going from like 40K a year to 120, 130K a year, I was the most broke I had ever been. Because I made every wrong mistake you could ever make when you start making money, and that has inflated my lifestyle. I got a brand new car, I got a really nice apartment that was way more than I could afford. But again, I justified it. I gaslit the fuck out of myself. Like, that's what I did. I gaslit myself because I was like, oh, I can afford it. I'm making money. Like, yeah, technically monthly payment wise, my bills versus my income was good. However, when you factor in debt, credit card payments, student loans, personal loans, collections, hello, credit scores, I'm sorry, but you can't afford it. If you're someone who, you make good money and you're like, I just need to make more money and then I'll be in a better position. Don't gaslight yourself. I'm gonna tell you right now, don't do it. You gotta fix your spending habits. You gotta start tracking your expenses. Like, don't just be buying whatever you can because you make money. No, you don't. But don't worry. If you're like, how am I supposed to stop spending when every other video I see, every other influencer I follow wants me to spend money? That's what I'm here for. I encourage good spending habits. Budgeting. We budget over here. Invest in quality items. Like, don't get me wrong. We invest, we have expenses, we have good skincare, good clothes, all that good stuff. But God forbid, are we gonna be overspending just to get the latest butter yellow top? So for real, you don't need it. Pay off your credit cards and have a good day.
It is much harder to lose when you live below your means. For the first 3 years of my 20s, I have been absolutely blessed to work within the real estate industry. Now, I am no longer active in the real estate industry, but I say I was blessed to work within the industry not for the money that you can make or the homes that you can buy, but because you get to see what people do with their money. On one end, you get to see people who make way more money than you, how they invest it, where they're putting their money, and ultimately how they're getting a return on their investment. On the other end, you witness and hear stories of people who put their money into deals that turn out bad, whether that's just a basic residential purchase or whether that's a bad investment deal. Over time, all of the information and stories and instances that I've seen have affected how I actually handle my own money. Of course, when you are young, making more money is very, very important. But I can tell you what's more important is that you don't make more money and build your life off the money that you're making. So if you finally graduate college and get that $150,000 paying job, do not live your life like you're making $150,000. Yes, you can surely go out and buy the new home, you can buy the new car, but I can tell you from experience that doesn't necessarily make you more happy or give you the freedom that you're actually looking for. Most of the situations that I've seen turn out bad are usually because the people in the specific instance aren't able to pivot when needed. So if I help a client buy a home and they lose a job, they are not able to afford the life they created based on the job they were working. So if you're young and watching this, before deploying your money into anything, understand that you want a level of comfortability and freedom, like your baseline, that is probably way bigger than you think it is. But that's a good thing because once you have that, you are going to be able to pivot whenever needed, and you're still going to be able to get the things that you want. So the lesson in this is to live below your means. If you live below your means, you can bounce back even if you go back to zero. If you live below your means, it will give you the level of comfortability and freedom to pivot whenever needed.
Some ways that me and my husband save money while also living very comfortably on one income. First thing is we limit the amount of subscriptions we have. We have a YouTube TV subscription, and I pay monthly for iCloud storage, but it's like $2.99, so it's not bad at all. Not having all these different streaming services has saved us a ton of money. Another thing we do to save money that has literally saved us thousands over the years has been car payments. My husband both drive older cars. I have a 2015 Honda CR-V and my husband has a 2015 Jeep Wrangler, and we're in a very blessed position to say that our cars are paid off, and just cutting out the car payment alone has saved us so much money. I'm like, cannot stress this enough, like to the point that we cannot even imagine buying a new car. Would never buy like a brand new car. We've already talked about, like, if we did want to get a new car, we would trade in our old cars and then get a used car. I have always been the one to say, as long as it gets me where I need to go, I don't really care what I'm driving. Another thing that saves us a ton of money is nails. I do not get manicures anymore. Sometimes I will on special occasions, like my birthday. I always go get my nails done. At our wedding and our honeymoon, I went and got my nails done. But I do my nails at home, and I think they look pretty good. I think they look cute. I usually buy like the $7 press-ons. I recently invested in a gel manicure kit, and that has saved us a lot of money because every time I would go to the nail salon, it would be like $50 to $60, and that is just too much. Another thing we do to save money is use coupons. I would be lying if I sat here and told you that we didn't eat out, because we do. We love to go eat out. It's one of our favorite things to do together. We get a lot of coupons sent to our house in the mail. We take advantage of that. The way we save money is by shopping at Aldi. Aldi is key to saving money on groceries, too, because me and my husband are very particular about the type of food we buy. We try to buy organic and dye-free food just because we believe that's what's best for us, and it saves us a ton of money. If you want a part 2 on how we save money while living comfortably on one income, just comment down below. See you guys later, and happy budgeting.
I live below my means by budgeting. Here's how. Before I started my debt-free journey, the idea of budgeting sounded terribly boring, but now I realize how awesome it is and how much peace of mind it brings me. Because I budget, I know how much money I bring in each month and how much I spend. But the best part about budgeting is that I feel in control of my finances because I literally tell my money where I want it to go. Let me explain. I get paid every 2 weeks. On payday, I pull up a simple Excel spreadsheet and write down how much money was in my paycheck at the top. Then below it, I write down all of the bills and things I have to pay for between then and my next paycheck. Things like my rent, groceries, gas, and internet. I also make a category for fun so that every paycheck I can spend a little money on the things that bring me joy. Lastly, I make a category for savings. Once I've figured out how much money I have left over after I pay all of my bills and put money aside for fun, I typically put the remainder toward my savings. Right now, I'm saving for my wedding in early 2026. Then, when I get paid in 2 more weeks, I do the process all over again. I use a really simple Excel spreadsheet for my budget because it's what works for me. Also, no 2 weeks are the same. Sometimes I have to pay for therapy, gifts for others, or travel, for example. But no matter what, I try my best not to spend more than what I'm bringing in. This budgeting strategy may not work for everyone, but it's what's worked for me the last several years and helped me pay off $60,000 of student loan debt. Do you budget? Let me know in the comments, and be sure to follow Imperfect Taylor for part 8 of how I live below my means.
Living below your means is not the same thing as living deprived. You can still live on less than you make and say yes to things that matter to you. But the thing is, you're saying no to the things that really do not matter to you. Some examples of this is, like, last year we decided that we really weren't getting much value from eating at restaurants anymore. It was literally costing us like $50 to go out to lunch for like getting 2 meals, maybe an appetizer, 0 drinks, and like paying tip on top of that. And we were getting like a subpar meal that we could make at home. So instead of like going out to eat as often as we were, we're just choosing to put more of that money into our grocery budget and cook really good meals at home. And the same thing with coffee. Like, there are only so many times you can go and get coffee out and it bring you the same amount of joy as it did that first time. And I really like to save going out for coffee for like emergency situations, or like when I really need a pick-me-up, or just saving it for a special treat. So I choose to buy like higher quality coffee beans or coffee grinds, and making that really good coffee at home and learning how to do that. And then just like buying really good products and investing in them that will last. Like, I think that is way more worth it to buy like the $300 air fryer that's going to last you 10 years than buying the $50 one off of Amazon or TT Shop, and it lasting 6 months. Living below your means doesn't mean just choosing the cheapest option every single time possible. It means choosing the things that actually matter to you and like making it align with the life that you want to live.
If you are on a debt payoff journey, you need to learn how to say no. And I had to say no for the first time today, and it was actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So I'm talking to one of my girlfriends, and we have plans tomorrow, and she goes, so we're going to go to lunch, right? Because we go to lunch fairly often. And I was like, well, no, I'm actually doing my like debt payoff thing, you know, and I've budgeted a certain amount of money every month for eating out. I think it's like $200 that I've budgeted every month for eating out. And I was like, not to be rude, but I've only budgeted, you know, $200 a month for eating out. And in my head, that's a one date night with my spouse and then one date night like with is a family date night. So like, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but I actually don't want to go out to lunch because I'd rather save that allocated amount for family time. And she wasn't mad by any means. She totally understood and was like, oh, okay. But the whole point is like, you need to live for your own financial situation and not others. And I'm going to have to say no probably a lot this year, and that is okay. And it's going to be worth it. So learn to say no, just live within your means, not other people's means.
One thing my mom taught me that has benefited my marriage so much, and I'm so grateful, is to live below my means. It allows for so much peace and contentment in our home and in our marriage. I am not stressing my husband out about keeping up with the Joneses and about what Mr. Such and Such did for his wife. Not at all. Also, I love to have spending money. Living above your means limits spending money because all your money is going towards the car note and the rent. Speaking of, my mom always taught me the importance of paying mortgage over rent, cash car over a car note. And also, I don't pay the bills, my husband does. So I'm not gonna stress him out about trying to keep up with somebody else. And I mean, I feel like also in that is confidence. When you're confident in who you are and what you're capable of, like because she raised me that way, I am extremely, extremely confident in my ability to make something out of nothing and to make the most out of anything. That's how I was raised. So I'm not sweating keeping up with nobody. And I know I don't need much to keep up with anybody. But anyway, this is me telling you, if anybody ain't never told you, it is okay to live below your means. Trying to keep up with people is really a setback in disguise. Don't get me wrong, it's a process, especially as young adults, but do not be afraid to save up. Do not be afraid to miss out. Do not be afraid to invest. Make sure you own something. I had to tell you that because I love you, girl.
I will absolutely die on the hill that being able to train yourself to enjoy living below your means is the ultimate life hack. Being deliberate about what and when to buy, focusing on the necessity and quality will save you so much money in the long run and make you so much more fulfilled with the purchases you do make. Here are a few of the ways that I embrace underconsumption in my life. My car is a 2018 Kia Soul that I managed to pay off last December. You will literally have to pry this car from my cold dead hands before I go back to having a car payment ever again. I will run this car into the ground. I make my coffee at home, and no, we don't have a fancy Nespresso or Breville, just our trusty Keurig that we've had for years, and we literally just buy whatever store brand K-Cups are on sale that week. I'm really proud of this next one. I've gotten my everyday makeup routine down to 5 items, and that maybe goes up to 7 items if it's an evening look. I've always felt way more comfortable in less makeup, so I just leaned into that and stopped trying to buy every single product that someone else looked good in. And lastly, I've been very intentional about developing hobbies that I love that don't require me to spend a lot of money, like camping, hiking, working out, and content creation. There's honestly something so satisfying about being able to have a good time without spending any money.
How are people affording life right now?
I have a feeling some of y'all aren't gonna like what I have to say, but I'm gonna say it anyway because I love you and I want you to win. Taking all emotions aside, if you are struggling right now to make ends meet, you need to ask yourself the hard questions. Do I need to increase my income or do I need to decrease my spending? Some of y'all are out here not wanting to take a hard look at your situation and see what your reality is. And that's the other thing. Number 2, you need to choose reality. Maybe you had a plan to drive this fancy car because you think you deserve it, and maybe your reality is you can't afford that car payment. I promise you are not struggling because of the basic needs. Has life gotten more expensive? Yes, of course it has, but Your problem is not the basic needs. You are struggling because you are choosing to live way above your means. And before y'all come at me, I see all the $300, $400 hauls that y'all are doing, and I'm like, aren't these the same people that are saying they're struggling? Like, why are you doing that? Or the sold out shows that all these artists are having, who's filling that up? You guys are. Again, you got to take a hard look at your situation and control what you can control. And there is a lot you guys are not choosing to control.
What are you guys doing to survive in this economy? And my answer is staying put. I've been in this apartment for about 7 years. Now, it's a little outdated, maybe a lot outdated.
I remember watching this video like almost a year ago. And basically the young lady, you know, she had kind of like the black girl luxury aesthetic going on, but she had just moved to a brand new luxury apartment. And she was kind of having a transparent moment by saying that since she's moved from her old apartment to this luxury apartment, which I'm sure she deserved, she can't do as much as she used to do when she was in her old apartment. And one of the things that she enjoyed doing was traveling. So since she's moved into this luxury apartment, she can't travel as much as she used to. And she said that she had to pretty much come up with a strategy to figure out how she was going to do that, because, you know, she was just like, I'm ready to move out of this luxury apartment. Like, she still made a lot of money, but majority of her money was going to rent. And so the small little luxuries that she enjoyed about life in her old apartment, she no longer could have them all. And I wish I could find this video. When I first saw it, I was just like, oh, wow, you know, I meant to save it and I forgot to. But she basically followed up and said to make a list of like 5 to 10 things that you always want to be able to do. Like, and so of course on her list, she had traveling as one of the things that she enjoys doing throughout the year. Not just one trip a year, she enjoys to frequently travel. But she encouraged other people to come up with a list of their own. So what are 5 to 10 things that you need to always be able to do to make yourself feel happy after working all week, after, you know, going through life all week, and then tailor, you know, your living arrangements to that. She went on to say that, you know, she had like, you know, stainless steel, all the upgraded appliances, but she was looking at apartments and they all had like white refrigerators. But she said to be able to do what she wanted to do, which was travel every other month, that was something she was willing to sacrifice. I definitely think that's a good strategy. And for me, that's something that I've been kind of working on. What is it that I want to always be able to do, whether I'm making $50,000 a year or $500,000 a year? What is something that I need to keep me happy? You know, everyone's going to have a different list. Some people might be like, I just want to be able to DoorDash food and not worry about the extra fees on Friday. Some people might be like, I just want to go out for a couple drinks every week with my friend. And for some people, it's like, I need to be able to travel every 2 to 3 months. Whatever your list is, you know, then tailor that and then look at different ways in your life that maybe you could scale back. And I think for a lot of people, that would be the living arrangement. If I can find the video, I'll definitely keep looking. I looked everywhere for her video, but this video reminded me so much of that video, because, you know, a lot of people say like, well, how are y'all getting by? How are you? And it's like staying put, living below our means.